blow. Holla the blow, blow, blow. Holla the blow, blow, blow the man. Holla the blow, blow, blow. Holla the blow, blow, blow. Holla the blow, blow, blow. Holla the blow, blow. We go have a grand time all night tonight. All night tonight. All night tonight. We go have a grand time all night tonight. All night tomorrow night. We go have a fine time all night tonight. All night tonight. All night tonight. We go have a fine time all night tonight. All night tomorrow night. Let me go. Holla the blow, blow, blow. Holla the blow, blow, blow. Holla the blow, blow, blow. Holla the blow, blow, blow the man. Holla the blow, blow, blow. Holla the blow, blow, blow. Holla the blow, blow, blow. Holla the blow, blow.
Well, good evening, everyone. I know that we all look forward to this program, Advancing the Cause. As usual, your humble servant, the Honorable Coretta McDonald, bringing to you live at this time what are some of the worrying issues affecting our people. But first of all, I want to thank you again for being here with us. Thank you for allowing me to be in your homes. Thank you for being there so that we can share with you, coming out of your reviews. But I want to say this to you. In order for us to be able to advance the cause, in order for us to be able to share this with many more persons, you will have to help me do something. And just this, it's very simple. Just share, share, share. Just share the live. Share the live with your friends. Just share the live with your friends so that we all can be on together and we can share what has been happening in and around the Guyana. We have quite a lot to discuss this evening. Quite a lot has been happening. You know, last week we had the Honorable David Patterson and Annette Ferguson here with us, and they were sharing with us the numerous projects that the coalition would have started, projects that have already been financed, and projects that are now being run off by this illegal group. And they're claiming all of these projects to be theirs. But I'm happy that we had David and Annette there, and they shared with you what was done by the coalition and where we left off. We also had them sharing the issue of those gifts. And to lead on to those gifts, we recognized that this illegal group of people, whom many of them received gifts while they sat in office then for 23 years, received numerous gifts. That was okay. But with Patterson receiving gifts from the ministry and Annette Ferguson receiving gifts from the ministry, it was a big issue. For projects that were sanctioned by cabinet, decisions being made by cabinet, we recognize that David Patterson had to face the courts on Monday. He had to face the magistrates court. David Patterson and the former general manager of the Demerara Harbor Bridge, Mr. Adams, both of them faced the courts on Monday. They were placed on a $200,000 cash bail, and they have to return to court on the 15th of February. Now, these are all issues that are being placed there by the illegal PPP group because they want to silence persons. They want to silence persons. The whole issue here with the Honorable David Patterson is the fact that David Patterson sits as the chairman of the Public Accounts Committee in Parliament. He is the chairperson. And of course, if you know David, you know David has a hands-on approach when it comes to spending of government's money and the squandering of government's money. So the years that we're going through now are 2011, 2012, 2013, and those are the years that we are going to go through. And those are the years that the PPP were in office. So they don't want to give account for all of those monies that they squandered during that period. So they don't want David Patterson there. But let me say to us, their attempts will not shut us up. Their attempts to silence us will not work. Because I can tell you what, they even have more coming. They're now talking about David Patterson should resign as chairperson of the Public Accounts Committee. And I also got some wink that they're planning to come to Parliament, where we're going to have a sitting tomorrow. They're planning to come there with a motion. But I can say, let me say this loud and clear. David Patterson, as a matter of fact, let me say to you, our viewers, that David Patterson, the Public Accounts Committee rather, is chaired by a member of the opposition. So we have members of the opposition, members of, well, this illegal bunch, but it is chaired by a member from the opposition side, and that's the main opposition, not the joiner party or parties. It is chaired by the main opposition. And so regardless of how they turn it or twist it or try to wring it, the opposition, the main opposition, who wouldn't be there for long, will continue to chair that committee. So there's no runaway, there's no escape for them. And I want that to sink in. There's no escape for this illegal bunch. So if they think they don't have to come to answer for squandering taxpayers' monies, they better think again, because they have to do it. Outside of that, we had the president of Venezuela issuing that decree. And it was not only a decree, but the man made good on what he said. And so we saw 2 vessels, registered vessels that belong to Guyanese, and the 12 Guyanese are now being held in Venezuela. We have the Venezuelan military on the border. They're even on or in our waters. They are patrolling there, and they have seized those 2 vessels. Now, it's a whole long process, because as far as those people are concerned, our Guyanese folks were trespassing. Now, those men are going to have to pass through, they're going to have to go through a processing period, which is some 4 to 5 days. Now, with COVID and all these things happening, I am worried about our Guyanese folks. And you know what? This fraudulent government that we have, they're all scared. And you know why they are scared? They are scared simply because when they sat in opposition, they were encouraging lots and lots of foolish talks with the president of Venezuela. And so the man has gotten spunks now. And whatever were the deals that they made with him when they were in opposition and promising that when they get into government, they're going to fulfill those deals, it seems as if they want to backpedal now. It seems as if they want to backpedal now. You know, all these alleged meetings and so on that they've been having with them, maybe promises were made and they want to backpedal now. But let me say to us, some persons would say a promise is a comfort to a fool. But you know what? Many fools don't take it lightly. Many fools don't have that in mind. Many fools, as we would want to sometimes call them, hold on to whatever was promised. And if you promise me something, then you got to give it to me. And I think maybe that is what the president of Venezuela is holding on to. And that's why he's saying to his citizens, that aspect of Guyana, that 1/3 of Guyana belong to us. And so it's going to be a part of the Republic of Venezuela. It's ours. And so we'll have to go and claim it. And so that is, I think that is what they're setting out there. But the danger we face here is that not only are those fishermen, not only them are facing danger, we have our citizens who are living in Port Kaituma, in Maruka, in Mabaruma. We have those citizens there exposed to lots and lots of threats. And it's obvious that we here don't have the kind of weaponry to oppose Venezuela. I mean, we don't want to go down that line, but here is it. Venezuela have their patrol boats, their military outfit, boats outfitted with, and they are there. And that is playing on the psyche of our people. When you have to watch out there and you're seeing Venezuelan boats passing, fully armored, Venezuelan soldiers all over the place. I mean, we already have COVID, and now we're having the threat from Venezuela. It's too much for our people. And under this fraudulent government, these visionless people, they just don't know what to do. So they are part, I hate the slogan, we are government for all the people, because you're not government for all the people. We heard from our folks, Vincent Alexander. We heard from the Honorable Rashli Jackson talking about this whole issue, with this whole territorial issue and this whole issue of sovereignty and so on. We heard them talk about it and giving you the differences between the two. But this fraudulent bunch, they don't know what they're about. And rather than seeking expert advice, they sent a minister of foreign affairs and something else, whatever he's responsible for. He had some talks with the representative from Venezuela. And he reported one thing to us. And then we later saw what he reported as transpired in a meeting between the two of them. We saw a different message coming from the representative of Venezuela. So it seems as if not seems as if, we can't believe anything that they're saying to us. We can't believe anything that they're saying to us. They have lied to us about COVID and continue to lie to us. Now, an issue as serious as that of Venezuela making all sorts of threat to us, they're lying about that too. How can we trust these people? How can we trust these people who don't mean to be honest with us? And so we have that going too. And then later on, we had in the media, we saw the Henry's family, the Henry boys, their families protesting on Monday. And may I remind you that we had three fellas looking like junkies. I mean, just for the want of a better term to describe them, three fellas looking like junkies who were pulled before the courts, charged for murder. Now, these men are professing their innocence. They're there and they're saying they don't know anything about those murders. One said he has never crossed the Berbice Bridge. And so I'm not sure what is it that they expect to get from that. But the Henry's families, both families, they're saying these are not the men who killed their children. These are not the men who killed their boys. Because the first thing, when you look at these two guys, these three guys, these two young men who were in the prime of their lives, these two young men can't manage those two guys. They can't. And so that is why the family is holding out, that they don't want to hear confession coming from the young men, police reporting that the young men confessed. They want evidence. They want to see the bicycles that these boys were riding. They want to see their clothing, because one of the young men was found with a different pair of trousers. They want to see his trousers. They want to see the cutlasses that they had. They want to see the bar that they usually have a bar that they stick an iron bar that they usually stick in the ground, and then you apply force to the coconut and stick it on the bar, and then you're able to peel off that outer shell from the coconut, and then you have that little one there with the tougher shell in it. They want to see those things. They want to see the phone that one of the young men had. They want to see caps that they were wearing. So only if those things are produced, they're going to believe that, yes, these three young men, they actually committed the two murders. And so we saw them protesting, asking for justice, asking that the right persons be charged for this murder. And they're very, very firm on what they're saying. They want justice. Those are not the young men who killed those boys, and they want justice. And then we have it's so disgusting. We have seen again this group of criminals, reckless and heartless people, again attacking poor private citizens. Poor private citizens, we saw them attacking, where again we have seen workers being laid off. And for those who are not being laid off, they are being threatened at work. I'm saying to us, we will not continue. I mean, yes, we're talking for too long. We've been talking for long, but the only thing that would bring some form of semblance to this whole situation is an uprising. People will have to rise up and speak out. People will have to forget for a while COVID, put on your COVID gears, walk with your sanitizer in your back pocket, have 2 or 3 masks so that you can change them, and we camp out in front of the Georgetown Magistrates Court, camp out in front of the Ministry of the Office of the President, camp out in front of the Office of the Attorney General, camp out in front of some of these ministries. That's the only way I think they're going to understand the amount of frustration that poor citizens are going through. You know, just today I was talking to 2 taxi drivers, and they were saying to me, "Miss, things bad. Things bad, miss, things bad." For the day, we only had 2 jobs. And here I'm telling you, this is about after 12. For the day, 2 jobs. I went to a flower shop, and at 10 o'clock, the lady who runs that shop, she was saying this is her first sale for the day, and she's hoping that with this sale many others would come. I mean, our people are suffering. Things are not happening. But you know what? I guess we have to go through this period of hardship so that we can understand clearly who the PPP and their cronies are. You know what has hurt them really badly? That 11.6 tons of cocaine. The holdup of that shipment has put a dent, a severe dent, a big hole in their stomachs. And so they cannot recover from that. Hence the reason for the hardship that persons are going through in this country. Because you know what? They had planned to do so much with that. But it cannot happen because the folks in Belgium got a wink. And you know what? Don't think that stuff haven't been going out, you know. Plenty little shipments going out. But you know what? There's a saying that old people say, moon a run till they catch 'em. And so while they were shipping out and shipping out and shipping out, this was the real big shipment. And I hear some persons say this was the shipment that was supposed to pay workers, to give them big back pay. But I can tell you, friends, God don't like ugly. God didn't like ugly. And as a result, that shipment was intercepted. But more than that, we have seen, let me touch on COVID. We have seen our numbers here going up, 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 up. And there is no definite plan with regards to how this visionless group of people plan to tackle COVID to be able to save our people. There is no proper system in place. And so we have persons dying here, persons dying there, this happening, the other happening, all kinds of things are happening to our people. And we have to put a stopping to this. We have to get to a point where this can no longer continue to happen. Our people must be safe. Just the other day, the UK, well, we know that the UK, they were on lockdown for the last 4 weeks. They have extended that. They have extended that. So for the last 4 weeks, no one going in, no one coming out. We have seen in the US, they have put stringent measures in place. As a matter of fact, I think I saw just recently where the US is saying now that persons who are not citizens, they're not going to allow them to come into their country. Persons with visas and so on, they're not going to allow them to come into their country because they have to manage what is happening there. We have seen Canada, their shutdown, lockdown, whatever we want to call it, will end tomorrow. But they have already issued, made an announcement that that period, when they analyze what their numbers would have been, if it's not down, then they are going to extend that lockdown period. We saw that lockdown happening in Trinidad. We saw the lockout happening in Jamaica. And just yesterday, we saw Barbados issuing that lockdown. And that will run for the next 3 weeks. But Guyana here is an open sepulchre. Guyana is an open sepulchre. So we have left our borders open for whoever will may come. Whatever they're coming with, we have left it open. We have seen just the other day, St. Lucia putting on lockdown. But we operate here in Guyana as if COVID has left our shores. We no longer have COVID, so we can continue to operate however we want to. My folks, let me say to you, and I've been saying this everywhere I go, please ensure that you wear your mask and you wear them correctly. Please ensure that you wash your hands as often as possible. Please ensure that you use your hand sanitizers. Be mindful of large crowds so that you would not be caught up in this whole fiasco of being able to contract COVID. I noticed we are talking about COVID is not a bacteria, it's a virus, but it's a serious virus. And as long as we use our mask, as long as we wear our mask, and we avoid large crowds where droplets and so on from speaking, get into the air and can get on somebody and so on. As long as we avoid those things, then it's going to be all right. But we've been saying all these things. We've been doing so much, but yet our numbers are not going down. Our numbers just keep skyrocketing, and we're having so many persons every day. So many persons from within the regions are coming down with COVID. We have seen outside of COVID, we have seen just today, I saw the nurses in Linden on the protest line picketing for better conditions. I mean, our nurses are one of the most important, or is one of the most important group of workers that we have in our country at this time. If our nurses were to shut shop, then can you imagine what would happen? What would happen to us? And I don't know why these visionless people cannot understand that our nurses, who are the frontline, our health workers, who are the frontline people, should be treated with some sort of respect. They should be treated with some sort of respect. Why is it that we have to allow our nurses to hit the streets in a crucial time, at a crucial time like this? It therefore means, and you would know that this illegal regime, they have no respect for people. All they're interested in is looking for avenues where they can be vindictive, avenues where they can instill fear into persons, and avenues where they can use state machinery to cuss out persons. That's what they're interested in. They're not interested in this nation moving forward. They're not interested in taking care of the health of the people of this nation, but they're interested in their own business, in issues that will allow them to earn monies. That's what they're interested in. We also have the issue of, and like I keep saying, we are advancing the cause here. And so these are all issues that we have been addressing through various means, letters, press conferences, telephone interviews, meetings with not the government, because these fraudulent people have said they will not engage the opposition, the main opposition, unless the opposition leader can bow to Ephraim Ali and say to him, "You are the president of Guyana." Well, Ephraim Ali, let me say to you, you better continue to wait for that, because it's not going to come. You continue to wait for that. But you know what? The time will come when you will run to meet with the Honorable Joseph Harmon. The time will come. Don't worry. Flounce yourself all over the place and give all kinds of big talks. Listen to the foolish advice that is being given to you by Barra Jagdio and the others. And don't decide to talk. You know what you're going to do? Let me get a little Creole here. You know what you're going to do? You're going to left all of them. And you're going to run to come to talk to Joseph Harmon. Don't worry, the time will come. If not, you're going to have to take all your supporters, especially those who are cane cutters. You're going to collect them with their shovel and their rake and their cutlasses, and y'all going to go to the borders. You're going to carry them there. Right there, you're going to carry them. And y'all going to fight the battle. You're going to defend our sovereignty. That's where you're going to go. I mean, I've never seen something as stupid as this. We are in such a crisis here. Crucial, critical issue we have to face with Venezuela. And the illegal installed president is saying that he is not going to engage the opposition leader until the opposition leader recognizes him as the president of this country. What more recognition you want? What more recognition you want, Ifran Ali? You're walking all over the place, doing all kinds of craziness. You as president, you standing and you have one of your security men right behind you in the background, discharging water from his body. You know, what kind of president we really got? Well, that's another issue. But here is that the president is there observing one of the roads that they are going to, one of the link roads that they're going to have, and the president, one of the president's guard, urinating right there. He's caught in a photograph. And you know, these people, they have no decency about them. None whatsoever. And I am wondering, when these people, we have moved from a 190 to 20 degrees to 300 to, and we have taken 360 degrees back to front turn. Back to front turn. We have taken that. And so Guyana has gone to another level. David Granger has made our country. David Granger has made our country, or he has replaced our country to where it used to be after 23 years ago. He has made our country, he placed our country there, bringing back that kind of respect that we once had. And now we have here these fraudulent people who have caused great embarrassment to our country. Great embarrassment to our country. And you know, it seems as if this is nothing for these people. It seems as if it's nothing for these people. I don't know where we're heading now. Every Guyana has become once again the laughing stock of not only the people in the Caribbean, but further afield. We have made, again, let me repeat it, we have made history, and history in the wrong way, with 11.6 tons of cocaine. 11.6 tons of cocaine. 11.6 tons of cocaine. We have made headlines with that again. And it's so crazy. It's crazy. I mean, that's the forward movement that we're taking. That's the forward jump. What is wrong with these people? But let's get back to matters, I think matters of more importance. We have seen just last Sunday, we celebrated World International Day of Education on Sunday last. And so we were there, and on Monday, we had a little forum on the APNU AFC Rush Hour 5 o'clock program, where we were talking about education. So this is our main focus for this evening, our country and our education. We are here, and we want to find out from the Ministry of Education, where are we going? Where are we going? What we plan to do with our children for the rest of the year, for another 3 months, for another 6 months. What plans do we have? And let me be clear with you, they have no plan, because it seems as if every region is doing their own thing. So we had that program and we were discussing what is going to happen, what they are doing, and where we are. You know, these people have done nothing, like I said. And I'm not sure that they have our people's interest at heart. And so we were discussing education. What are the challenges? And I can say to you, teachers are under tremendous pressure. Our students are under tremendous pressure. Our parents are under tremendous pressure because here you have teachers have had to adapt to a new method of learning where they had to switch in to using various modes of teaching: WhatsApp, Messenger, Facebook, Enmodo, Zoom, and others. We have had the Ministry of Education, while we had the Honorable Nicolette Henry there. There was a streamlined program. But just after August 2nd, and this is all the PPP is good at, they love to throw things out the window, even when they don't have a plan. They love to throw things out of the window. And so the program that was laid out there, that was thrown through the window. But I want to say I want to just stick this one in, that during Dr. Henry's tenure as minister, Guyana received the highest passes in English language and mathematics at CSEC. And this is a record that will not be easy for Priya Manik Chan to break. Guyana scored the highest 73% increase. That was our increase rate of passes. 73% passes in English, math. I want Priya Manik Chan to break that because she got a lot of, she's very pompous, you know. She got a lot of talks in her mouth. But I usually say, big talk, don't bust mouth. Your actions is what counts. And you know, I mean, I don't usually get down this line, but I need to say this. Priya Manik Chan is a racist. She's a racist. If we look around the Ministry of Education, and I'm gonna zero in again on what we are doing in education and the issues that we are faced. But let me say this one here. We have seen huge leaps being made at the Ministry of Education. And the leaps that we have seen there are leaps that would have caused one group of people, or let me say Afro-Guyanese, to be removed and placed on the back burners, while we have Indo-Guyanese being placed on the front burners. Advancing the cause. Advancing the cause is saying we have people who are qualified. We have persons who have been there, they have the experience, but yet these persons were shifted around, and we have some freshies coming in, some real fresh eggs coming in. And some of them, they have moved from point 0 and they're at 10. Just jumping scales, and they have arrived. But let's watch on. Just look on and you're going to see what will happen. You're going to see the results of those big leaps. You're going to see them. But let's zero in back to where we were. The challenges that our teachers face. We have some teachers are facing challenges of not being able to have that full capacity with regards to internet service or data capacity to offer the kind of service to our students, to be able to teach them. We have seen teachers being abused by some parents. We have seen teachers being abused by some of the students. We have seen students and sometimes their parents disrupting classes. And so these are some of the challenges that teachers face during this whole, that are facing during this period of being able to deliver quality education. We have seen our students, some of them being frustrated because they can't, because of the strength of their internet connections, they cannot, they're not able to log in to many classes. They're in and then they're bounced off at sometimes, and so they're frustrated. We have seen parents being frustrated because they cannot afford to purchase data for long periods, because I can tell you the Zoom classes use up quite a lot of data. The Enmodo classes use up quite a lot of data. And so we have seen teachers reverting to sending WhatsApp messages. Oh wow. Let me just stop for a minute. Let me just pause to welcome the Honorable Annette Ferguson. Annette, what's happening? Good evening to you.
Good evening to you, my dear. What's happening? And good evening
It's
to your
always a
people.
pleasure to have you here. And so I'm just sharing with the audience here, education, International Day of Education, and what we expect to see, what the department or the education ministry, what plan they have. And I was just recapping on what transpired during the time Dr. Henry was Minister of Education, when Guyana gained the 73% passes in math and English. And I'm saying that with all the talks Priya Manikchan has in her mouth, she wouldn't be able to break. That's a figure she can't break at all. She wouldn't be able to make that because she's too pompous and she doesn't understand education. Priya Manikchan is an attorney at law. And sometimes, and I would always hear old people saying this thing: you must stick to what you know.
Yeah.
Don't jump out of your lane to pronounce on things that you don't know. And that's what she's doing.
Yeah.
That is what she's doing. And now she is taking it down another line. The line of being racial, the line of being vindictive. Well, of course, I need not remind you. Priya likes to cuss out. She likes to cuss out. She likes abuse out. But I've learned one thing from Michelle Obama, who said to us,
when they go low,
low, we go high.
Indeed.
And so all I would have to say to Priya Manikchan is not to worry with Coretta McDonald, because I noticed Coretta McDonald, she's attacking Coretta McDonald all the time. Priya, you can't silence me. And it's so amazing. Viewers, I need to let you know, Coretta McDonald, AA then, in 2015, 2016, 2017, 2018, Coretta McDonald was a very decent young woman. She was a champion for workers, a champion for the teachers, a champion who go out there and ensure she looks after issues for people. But when Coretta's name was highlighted on the list of candidates for the coalition, Coretta McDonald became this indecent woman. She's no longer credible. Well, let me tell you something. They ain't got nothing like Cosworth Priya Manikchan, who can condemn me or who can put no sash on me. Priya is not God. She's not even an angel. So Priya can't sash me. Priya, none of our Kavakamites can sash me. The only person who can judge me is God, not Priya Manikchan.
Amen.
And so I was saying to them, and I'll bring you in a little just now, Annette. I was saying to our viewers that we have not seen a direct plan coming from the Ministry of Education with regards to how we ought to operate during this COVID period. We have seen, and I'm going to repeat this again, we have seen many, 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 many workbooks being printed at the cost of millions of dollars with plenty, 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 enough mistakes in it, spelling error. Imagine we have the grades, I think it's grade 3, one of the mathematics worksheet where they're doing subtraction without regrouping. And the regrouping is simply this. If you have 19, or no, let me say you have 17 and you have to take away 9 from 17. So you have to borrow the 1, or you take the 1, you take off that 10, you put it next to the 7, and you make that 7 17 now. So you can subtract 9 from the 17. Yes. Now, they had a subtraction there where they were subtracting 4 from 9. No, the one that I gave you just now is without regrouping. So the with regrouping is where you have to bring across the 1. Without regrouping, you don't have to bring across. So they had to do a subtraction problem there. I think it might have been grade 2. You have to take away 4 from 9. You know, in that workbook, when they did that was the example. When they did the example, in the workbook they had 9, let's say 9 cakes. Rather than subtracting, taking off 4, striking off 4, they struck off 5. And Priya Manikchan want to tell me that I am peddling on truth out there. Now, you know, I have those worksheets. Well, I can't say to you what I'm going to do with them, but I have those worksheets for Priya. I have them. And all I'm saying is that we should take our time to print our worksheets. We should take our time and select the people who are capable for producing those worksheets. But when we mix it up with friends and families and cronies of the illegal PPP group, we must have these confusion because they don't know left from right. So we must have these confusion. And all you are doing is confusing our children. That's all they do. Confuse our children. And so we're saying we need to have a plan to take our children through. We need to have a plan. We can either do worksheets and have teachers, have the specialist teachers go through those worksheets before you print them. And when you print, extend the printing to as many persons who have printing stationery shops or printing machines, extend it to as many persons as possible. So we have fair play, not only a selected group of people. Because I want to say, you know, these people talk about corruption, but they are the creators of corruption. Because you have persons right at the Ministry of Education who doing lots and lots of the printing. Lots and lots of the printing. You have the staff at the Ministry of Education doing lots of the printing. So, and these folks are cronies again of the PPP, cronies of Priya. These are the people who, when Priya said to them, run, they ask how fast, jump, how high. Everything she says to them, they go through. Priya's a dictator. Let me put it in short, Priya's a dictator. But that's what we're having in the education system. We want to appeal to them to have a proper plan laid out for our children so that our teachers can follow. Don't plan work in the worksheets that doesn't coincide with the schemes of work. It's not going to make sense. It's not going to make sense. And here again, people who don't have the know-how are the people who we use to put together these worksheets. Ensure you check the schemes of work so you know how to prepare the worksheets so that while the teachers have their schemes of work, the worksheets will correspond with the topics that they have to teach in the children in these classes. What we are proposing that we have these specialists sit look at the amount of work that we have to cover in the 3 terms, and we decide like what used to happen all the time, how we
Mm-hmm.
are going to do this work, having in mind that COVID is there.
Yes.
Decide
Yes.
on how many days we are going to have the work done. Not who doing, some teachers do for 3 days, they do Zoom classes, some teachers do for 4 days. So we should be sitting with our teachers, trying to find out from them don't just have our people doing whatever they feel like, our teachers doing whatever they think is best for them to do, because we're going to have confusion in the system. The
Mm-hmm.
other
Mm-hmm.
issue that I want to zero in, Annette, on is COVID.
Mm-hmm.
COVID is a serious matter. We have COVID, and I did mention early this other crucial issue that we are having with the Venezuelans, the threats that we would have received from them, and the actual seizing of 2 vessels and 12 of our Guyanese
Nice
fishermen.
fisherman. Mm-hmm.
Annette, let me bring you in right here so our viewers can hear a little more from you, because I shared a little with them that we had plans that were already there. We had a
Mm-hmm.
process in place where we had the Honorable Rashley Jackson. I think we have Rudy Collins. I think Elizabeth Harper was on
Papa.
that group, and a few others were on that group. And these are seasoned people who worked with the Ministry of Foreign Affairs over the years, and they
Mm-hmm.
have the kind of experience. And so they are part of a subcommittee that was formed by the then minister, the Honorable Kyle Greenidge.
Mm-hmm.
Now we still have these people, but we have there a minister. I'm not sure whether he is he's foreign affairs and foreign trade something. They change the thing so quickly with craziness that you sometimes can't keep track of the titles. But if let me
Yeah.
say for now, the foreign affairs minister who
Yeah.
said reported to the Guyanese public, he reported to us one aspect or an aspect or his aspect of the conversation he had with the Venezuelan counterpart. And then but we saw the real conversation that was had. So when he was saying that, oh, it was this, the meeting went very nicely, and the people said, oh, our citizens are safe, and this is so, the people throw up something else, which was totally different. And I keep saying, everything these fraudulent people are lying to us about. And
Mm-hmm.
let's have you on this for some time, for a while.
Okay, thank you very much, Coretta, again. Thank you for allowing me another opportunity to be on your program here, Advancing the Cause. And I want to commend you for all the efforts that you have been making, every week to host this program. A pleasant evening to your viewers and listeners home here, regionally and internationally. Look, this whole matter on Venezuela, some over 100 years ago, this entire matter was settled, right? The whole issue with the decree. When we came into office in 2015, Maduro and his team, they had started to, probably try something. Because remember, apparently under the previous administration, there was some backdoor arrangement, and we have to remember that Jagdio was the one who commit to the people that he was going to give up some part of the Essequibo River to Venezuela. So when we came into office, they start up with this thing, but we were able to, with the like minds of Rashley Jackson, those names you called earlier, a committee was put together, and we started to act as a responsible government, because we knew that this matter was long settled, and that what Venezuela was actually claiming it doesn't belong to them. It is in the water of Guyana. So we had the whole issue where, we had the ICJ, the International Court of Justice, came into effect, and the matter is currently engaging the ICJ. But I want us to remind our viewers, Coretta, remember, this government, this illegitimate government is in a predicament at the moment, because they made their deals with the likes of Pompous Pompeo and Donald Trump. Apparently they made that's why we had a whole change of government, because they commit to the people that look, yes, you can bring whatever into Guyana. We will ensure that you have access from Guyana to Venezuela to do whatever they wanted to do. But now the thing has backfired, because what is happening now is that you have a change in the American government. You have a new administration, the Biden administration. So, rather than them, number one, this government made a major mistake of engaging Marudo and his support staff. You understand me? Or the point person that is now pushing this thing. This thing is being sub judice, and we know that any matter that is being sub judice in the court of law, whoever come trying something, they ought not to do that. You understand me? So rather than them, stalling these people, putting a hold on whatever until the ICJ makes a pronouncement on this matter, because I think the pronouncement, I think something comes up, is it this month end or sometime early next month, right? Where the ICJ will hear the matter, because I think it was in December they claimed that they have jurisdiction to hear the matter, right? So the PPP, this government, they got to be held accountable for what is happening, because it is them who created. It is them who created this whole thing. So rather than saying to the people, well, look, I do not want to hear from you. This matter is currently before ICJ. Let us await what the decisions are to be made by the ICJ. They committing themselves. Why are you committing yourself? And it's not only are you committing yourself, you're committing the people of Guyana, and by extension the country.
You're putting us at risk.
Exactly. And we in the opposition, we have made it clear, the leader of the opposition, anything concerning national interest, we will give our support to it. Because at the end of the day, we got to put country first.
But, Annette, let me stop you a little there. I noticed, yes, the opposition leader did say that. But we have seen and we heard the illegal guy, Efren Ali, saying, unless the leader of the opposition acknowledges him as the legitimate president, he will not engage. And so I was saying to the viewers earlier, I said, don't worry, you're going to see how fast he can run to engage the leader of the opposition. You're going to see how fast he can forget all the fancy talks he had in his mouth about, acknowledging and non-acknowledgement and all kinds of crazy things. He can come then. If he doesn't come, then he and his supporters and the monies that they're spending to relive the dead sugar estates, they can got to make purchases of more cutlasses and some more shovels, and Jagdio and Efren and Priya and Anil and your boy Nigel Dharamlal and the lady Alien Mouth, no, not Alien Mouth, sorry, Pauline. They're gonna have to walk. They're gonna walk with them to the borders to defend this country's sovereignty. My heart, it burdens my heart for the threat that we have unnecessarily, and I'm saying we here loosely, not in the set, not that APNU has caused this, but this is what, like I said earlier to the viewers, the PPP, they had all kinds of talks and they made promises. And I was just saying to my viewers that some people would say a promise is a comfort to a fool, but I was
Yeah.
saying not all fools take no comfort. Some fools will say you make it, deliver. And that is what
Yes.
Venezuela is saying now. You made promises to us, deliver. And if you don't deliver,
Exactly.
we'll show you what we will do.
Exactly.
But the thing is, our brothers, our sisters, our nation's children in Region 1, they are all at risk. They are all at risk. And so there is a sense of fear among our people in those
Yeah.
outlying areas because
Yes.
everywhere, every time they look, they are right in the eyes of the Venezuelan soldiers who are patrolling the rivers.
Exactly.
They
And you see,
are right there. As a matter of fact, our MP Ronald Cox has indicated to us the influx of Venezuelans
Valence.
that they have
Exactly.
in Mabruma, and they
Yes.
are saying to them, this place is our own. This place belongs to us. And so they too are setting the stage for a confrontation with our people so that all sorts of things can erupt. And I don't
Yeah.
understand why this illegal group of people not seeing this as being serious. They're
Yeah.
not seeing this as being serious. But I want to encourage the viewers out here to please let's put our knees to the ground and pray for our country.
Yeah.
Pray
But
especially for our
yeah.
citizens in Region 1, Mabruma, Port Kaituma, Maruka. Let's
Muka.
pray for them.
Exactly, because I want to share with your listeners and viewers. Just last evening, renowned journalist Miss Julia Johnson. This is the little comment she put out on Facebook. We have a GDF Coast Guard and the U.S. Coast Guard on joint patrol in Guyana maritime space, and yet Venezuelan military vessels are in Guyana's water for weeks now, and not
Uh-huh.
a word from the GDF or government until, you heard me? So for weeks now, we had these, the Venezuelan military vessels patrolling in our waters, and the Guyana Defense Force failed to notify or to alert us what is happening, and by extension, the government of Guyana. It is not until 2 fishing vessels are captured.
Yeah. I
So
captured, yeah.
so the big question now, how come the joint patrollers with their sophisticated vessels and modern equipment and technology ain't noticed when the Venezuelan vessels left Venezuela? So we are in trying times.
I know. I know.
We are
And
in
and and
trying times.
and it is even more trying because this illegal bunch, they are continuing to hide from the Guyanese people important information.
That
Now,
is
like I
it.
said earlier, our brothers and sisters in Region 1, they are the ones who will face the blunt of it. While Jagio and Efron Ali they sit on their thrones, our
Yeah,
people there will face the blunt of it.
yeah,
Now, I was just saying whether our policemen on those outlying areas, whether those police stations can face off with a group of sindicatos from Venezuela, because
no,
we have plenty of them in our country. Many of them we have in the country. As a matter of fact, this same illegal regime would have allowed for, it is alleged that they have smuggled quite a lot of those people into this country because they wanted to use them to vote at elections.
yes,
Now,
yes,
the thing is, when you raise up ants nest, when you joke up ants nest, ants gonna bite you.
indeed,
You
indeed.
see, I come from the country, so I know all these. I know these little slangs and these sayings and so on. So forgive me from time to time you hear me saying them. It's because I came from the country and I lived with my grandmother for my grandparents for a very long time. So you used to hear all these stories, these sayings from my grandmother and my great grandmother and so on, and my great aunts. I used to hear all these sayings from them. But the thing is, we have played with trouble. And we're getting it.
Exactly.
If we remember, if we can take our minds back, 2015, we had Venezuela making themselves monkeys. You know, just allow me to say a couple of things. 2016, we had them doing that.
No.
2017, we had them parading on our waters and capturing our people. 2017, we had that. 2018, we had that. What we had was the issue of the issue of the, is it the territorial the territorial dispute? Is it territorial dispute? Or
yes,
because
the decree.
We have two things that we are playing with: our sovereignty and the territorial disputes. Now, there is where we made all the applications and we filed our documents at the highest level so that this matter can be dealt with once and for all. We hadn't these kinds of foolishness happening when the coalition were in government. As soon as the coalition came out of government, as soon as we were forced out of office, look how many things have happened.
Yeah.
The murder of the Henry Boys and Harry Singh, the 11.6 tons of cocaine, Venezuela's president making the decree, Venezuela snatching 2 of our boats. I mean, a lot of crazy things have happened from August 2nd to now. And I'm hoping that people are taking note of these things that have happened, and that you're recognizing that we have a group of persons who are sitting at the helm, masquerading. Let me use the word that my friend Priya used for me, masquerading as government ministers and as president when they don't have even an iota of how to manage serious issues, how to manage a country. They sat there for 23 years and all they did was to dictate. They didn't manage. All they did was dictate and instill fear. And it's the same thing they're doing now again, instilling fear in the workers, instilling fear in every single sector. They are instilling fear. I saw yesterday, day before yesterday, I think it was sometime, yes, might have been Monday, where Nigel Daramlal is saying that the mayor should resign. I mean, could you imagine somebody like Nigel Daramlal saying he is calling for the resignation of the mayor? You know, sometimes these people force you to want to respond to them sometimes and to say things that are not very nice to say. But I want to remind, Annette, you're going to support me here too. So let me remind Nigel Daramlal that he did not place the mayor there. The mayor was legally elected. He was legally elected. So Nigel Daramlal, you can't stop the mayor. You can't cut the mayor's pay. You can't stop his salary. You got to pay him whether you like it or not. He got to be paid. And you can't ask the mayor to resign.
No.
You know, the thing is, find somebody who can stand up. Every time they recognize that somebody is standing up to them, they try to shut you up. But again, I want to let them know. If they don't know, let me say it loudly to them. They can't silence David Patterson. They cannot silence the mayor. They will not be able to silence Coretta McDonald. They can't silence Annette Ferguson. They cannot silence Daniel Stiram. They can't silence Ganesh Maipal. They will not be able to silence Sherrod Duncan and none of the other MPs. None of us, you wouldn't be able to silence our MPs, nor our mayors, nor our regional chairpersons. You will not be able to silence us because we know what we're about. We might not have the capacity to pronounce our know-hows, but what we're going to do is to use the forums that we have here to advance the cause, to highlight these issues to our viewers and to make them fully aware of what is happening.
Yeah, but you
They
know,
can't silence us.
no, you see, Coretta, we have to remind the viewers how these people came to government. They were so hungry, glutton, greedy. You understand me? For power. So they didn't care how they had to come, whether they had to snatch it, whether they had to rig the elections, whether they had to um, get the Americans some Secretary of State on their side just to promote and drive fear into the leadership of the government about the then government about sanctions, right? This is how they came to government. So they were hurriedly installed. So you come rather than you sitting and building on what the coalition would have left off. You understand me? You want to take us back to pre-May of 2015. That is why they are in this confusion state. That is why you would hear Sherrod Duncan and Ronald and what's his Critchlow saying it's sheer confusion powder. These people sprinkle on this nation. So in all the sectors, whether in the health sector, that's why we getting COVID numbers contained. Whether in the education sector, that's why we're seeing our students or our pupils being infected by COVID and the blackboards that they would have set up in the various communities that we never see working. It's sheer madness. Even in
Show boy and show girl businessman.
even in public infrastructure, if you look at it, no plan. You come in today and you decide, you know what? Oh, the Demerara Harbor Bridge. Here, we're going to construct it. We're going to construct a new Demerara Harbor Bridge, but we will not put it to the site that the feasibility study was done for. We're going to put it at Peters Hall. Now, where is the plan? Where is the feasibility study? You understand me? We're going to build a road from Demerara Harbor Bridge way up to Perico somewhere. Where is the plan? Where is the plan thing for the housing sector? They beat it up on the coalition. Oh, we allocated house lots and we give people no road, no electricity, no water. But this is what they were doing pre-May 2015. You understand me? No infrastructure. You look at all of the schemes that were constructed under the PPPC. You take a drive in Diamond, see what is happening. No proper road. Go to La Paris, Faith Harmony. No proper road. Go to Tushen. These are all housing schemes that were developed under the PPP Civic. Now you go to take a drive through to in Perseverance. You will see what a community, what a housing scheme should look like, because it was under our administration, the APNU AFC government. We not just created housing schemes. We ensure that the basic utilities or facilities or amenities, whether good roads, whether running water, whether playground, whether schools, you go to some of the communities that we would have developed. You understand me? So these people, they have no plan. They have no plan. They just come in. They know the eyes there on the aisle money, and we got to grab. And they've already started to grab.
But Annette, since we're on infrastructure, I'm sorry that I don't have the picture here to show our viewers, but I noticed we had a bus shed. Well, it's not a bus shed. I think it's a sun shed, if I can call it maybe a sun shed, where you saw a roof with maybe 4 or so, 3/4, if it's 3/4, if it's so much zinc sheets on, and 4 legs, nothing else. And that was $2 million.
Yeah, it is such a shame. I mean, I am no expert in the construction industry. I'm not an engineer by profession, but having my little knowledge serving as minister in both public infrastructure and housing, I got a fair understanding of, certain dimension and of things and what it would cost. So when I saw that bus shed, it looks like 3 feet to me in width, probably 3 by 3. And that would cost us just less than, probably just under 200,000 Guyana dollars. So when
Yeah,
we
I was
see
going.
$2 million, you understand me? Something is definitely wrong.
I was going to do the breakdown. I was going to do the breakdown. Um,
Mm-hmm.
4 sheets. We're gonna say 4 sheets of zinc sheets. And it gave us a rough idea of how much is the cost for a zinc sheet,
Let me say,
regular zinc sheet.
yeah, a 25 gauge. Oh boy, how many feet? It would cost you about, let me say, might be but a little seven. Let me say about 5,000 roughly
All
a
right.
feet.
So five fours right away at $20,000.
Good, right? Mm-hmm.
Good. Now that little, well, I ain't sure it's a foundation, but that little standing pad that they put there, that ain't more than 2 sacks of cement and 5 of those salt bags of sand that we usually buy from down the road there in Broad Street.
Good.
A
So
sack of cement, let's say, is what?
a sack of cement,
$2,000, $2,500.
let me say $2,000, between 1,800 to 2,000.
Good. So 2,000 and 2,000 is 4,000. So we got
Good.
$24,000. A
Good.
bag of sand is I think it's $500 or $1,000 for a bag of sand. All right, let's say 5 bags, $5,000.
Exactly.
$5,000, $1,000. So we had 24,000 plus 5,000. That's 29,000.
Mm-hmm.
The four pieces of wood that we put down there. That's 2 by 2 or 2 by 4.
They look like a 1 by 3 to me, but I could scale it up a bit. Let me say 2 by 4. It could be 2 by 4 Kabakali,
2 by 4
green heart.
So that is 2 lengths. Is 2 lengths of 2 by 4 we buy there, and we cut it in half. So we got those 4 pieces to make the edge around. To make the edge around.
You calculate the cost yet for the wood, So let me say, if it's Kabakali or Silver Bali, it might be, let me say, roughly 260 per BM. Right? If it's Green Heart, it might be between 300 to 360 a BM.
All right.
Right?
So the wood gonna cost us what?
So let me say the wood is, let me say, roughly 40 BM. So 40 BM by 2 something gonna cost us anything like 8,000. Let me round after 10,000.
Let me say 300.
All right, 300. So 40 by 3 gonna give us 12,000.
Good. So we got 29 plus 12 is 39, 40, 41,000, right? 41,000 we got so far. To put the edging around, let's say we use another 12,000.
Good.
Let me say another 12.
Good.
So 41,000 we had there just now. 41 and 12 is what? 53?
53.
53,000.
And you got counting
nails. And the nails, $1,000 for nails. Let's say 1,000 for nails. We put in estimated figures, $1,000 for nails. So that's what? 50,000 now?
Yeah, 53. They're gonna be 53, 54.
$54,000 for the nails. What else we missing? Just the workmanship.
Yeah, just the workmanship.
So workmanship cost us $1 million.
Apparently.
And these are the people who talk. These are the people who talk about corruption.
Yeah.
These are the people who talk about corruption. And so when we compared that bus shed, well, I can call it the sun shed, that sun shed with a proper bus shed, a proper concreted bus shed. I think it was somewhere in West Coast, Berbice. We got a picture from there, and one somewhere in I think from Region 6 we got one, and that cost us $600,000 or $400,000.
But what we gotta say to our viewers and listeners is that in Region 5 alone, in Region 5 alone, under the APNU AFC administration through the Regional Democratic Council of Region Number 5, we would have constructed in excess of, I think it's about 10 of those bus sheds in West Coast Bobbies. 10. So it would have cost us, let us say, about 600,000 to construct one of those bus sheds, right? One of those bus sheds, and there's material and labor cost. And you get a little tree and the bus shed in Region Number 5 and 10, and I think 6. Look at the width. They look like a 10 feet, a 10 by 10 bus shed.
Now, I was looking at this sun shed that we got, and I said this could only shelter you from sun, because if it starts to rain, then the rain, depending on the angle that the rain is falling, your clothes wet.
Exactly.
Because it's not a shed, it's not a bus shed where you have it's not an enclosed bus shed. It's an open sun shed. So you just get a little shade over your head if you want to take a rest from the sun. And I'm looking at the bus sheds that were constructed under the coalition. They had seats on the inside.
Yes.
So if somebody was tired, you came into the bus shed and you could sit down and catch your breath. If you're walking, if you're riding a bicycle, you could sit down and catch your breath.
Yes.
And all these ridiculous people did was to give you a little shed, an open shed, and that you can't do anything. So if you're feeling bad, don't bother stop there, because you're gonna get blackout. Don't stop there, and you'll only have much more injuries created on yourself, because if you fall down, you knock your head on the concrete. So don't even stop there. Outside of that, I feel good when we can have projects, and let me say, not only projects, but projects that were designed by the coalition, projects that we already had financing for, that this illegal group, they're now collecting, and they want to claim it as being theirs. I want to say to our viewers, all these projects that you see they're running off are projects that were already laid out there by the coalition. These are projects that formed part of our decade of development. All of these projects.
Yeah, and Coretta, if I may, let me also remind the viewers and listeners how projects work. You may have projects going for multi-year, right? Which would be like more than 1 year. So let's say a project might have started under the coalition in 2018, and we know it's a 3-year project. So 2018, 19, 20, 21, it should end between, 2021 to 2022. So therefore, that is a project that this illegitimate government would have inherited from the coalition. And if we were to go back to budget 2020, the budget that they deemed an emergency budget, right? And I think the team was Plan for Prosperity. When you scrutinize that budget, Coretta and viewers and listeners, there's not one new single project reflected in budget 2020, because everything that budget 2020 catered for were actually projects, right? Projects that the coalition government had on stream. And I can point to many of those projects. One, the Sheriff Mandela project, that is an IDB funded project. And that project is being done. It was awarded to Sindro Hydro. It's a contractor out of China that has been awarded that contract. So when you drive from the East Bank here and heading towards Mandela, when you swing right onto Mandela, straight through the back of the gardens, there straight up to Cherry Street, Sheriff and Rupert Craig Highway, that was done by the coalition. It started by the coalition. The contract was awarded under the coalition. You understand me? Yes, we had some issues. We had to do, the reformation of the project where some monies went towards public infrastructure. Some monies went to the Ministry of Communities to do housing development for some houses, for some citizens there in Sophia and all manner of thing. Right? So that was a project that was done under the coalition. And I want viewers to listen to me carefully. In that project, when the design was done, Coretta, there is a design for a roundabout. And the roundabout will be between Sheriff and the railway embankment there, just adjacent to the Guy oil gas station. So don't let the PPP come and say, you know what, this we project. It is not their project, and this we idea. It is not their idea, because they would have governed for 23 years and never had a vision of building roads with roundabout. When we came into government, the first roundabout that was constructed at Rupert Craig Highway there, or Carfesta and Vicinian Road, it was the coalition government. The first roundabout. What else did we achieve? All those 5 pedestrian crossing from Houston way up to Diamond. It is whose idea? It was the coalition's idea under the leadership of David Patterson and myself, because it was an IDB funded project. What happened, Coretta? For those who don't know, I can tell them now. The project was to do some work, I think, widening of the or putting an alternate road in the Diamond area, because Diamond area there's always a heavy congestion both in the mornings and in the afternoons, right? Because there's one entrance in, one entrance out. And when we did when we did the designs and the studies, we recognized that the road would end up in people's this alternate road would end up in people's private property. And we said, no, this can't work, because the government then would have to acquire these properties by way of compulsory acquisition. And we said, no, it doesn't make sense us going that route for now. But rather than sending back the monies to IDB, you know what we did? We decided that, well, look, it would be good for us to have these overhead pedestrian crossing, because we recognize that the East Bank corridor was the prone areas for a lot of accidents. So to save lives, those five overhead pedestrian crossing were installed, were constructed, built with I think elevator amongst every other thing, under the coalition's leadership. So I'm just trying to remind our viewers, many of the new things that you saw, that you're seeing now, or saw then, it was conceptualized by the coalition. But you know what, Coretta, they will not come and tell the public, oh, it was a coalition thing, and we just continuing. Look what happened in region number 2. 2 days ago, Coretta, 2 days ago, the illegal minister of health went to region number 2, Cameroon Supernam, to commission a building that was already constructed and commissioned under the APNU-AFC government. You know why he did that? He did that because he want the people to feel, Guyanese to feel, it is the PPP's doing. But as I said as I'm saying now, and I'm repeating myself, so that our viewers can understand and listeners can understand what is happening. This illegitimate government, they have no vision for Guyana. They have no plans to take our country forward. What we're seeing is retrogression. That is what we're seeing. Backwardness.
Annette, and so I've been thinking about this ever since, and I'm saying every single one of these projects are our projects,
Yep.
and
Yep.
we have to reclaim them.
Yep.
And
Yep.
so very shortly, our viewers and here, our viewers here in the in region and further afield, you will see us reclaiming those projects,
Mm-hmm.
because there
Mm-hmm.
were projects that were already laid out there by the coalition,
Yeah, you
by the
heard about.
coalition. And like I said earlier, all the PPP knows to do is to come in, throw out,
Yep.
and
Yep.
pretend as if they are in now with some A game. They ain't got no A game, just like the
No.
budget. And as
Yeah.
Sherrod said, it was budget. And I said to them, I would give them an A grade, A for atrocious.
Yeah.
I am waiting
Yes.
to see what the 2021 budget will bring forth.
Yeah.
I know it ain't going forward in atrocious. I know that for sure.
Yeah. You know,
But you know
and
what? Go ahead, Annette.
we have to remind the viewers. We have to remind our viewers and listeners. Not only did we improve infrastructure, we improve social services. As you
Oh
know,
wow, yes.
as you made a point earlier, look at the high rates in passes at the level of the Ministry of Education. We had high passes at CSEC level, at CAPE level. We had high passes even at the grade 6 level. Our children, they excelled. You know, they were high flyers under the coalition government, because you know why, Coretta? We had a proper plan in place. We had
Yes.
a proper plan in place. We would have injected every year. The ministry that had the highest budget was the Ministry of Education. We pumped a lot of monies into I think in 2019, our last budget, the ministry had in excess of 52 point something billion Guyana dollars. It had more than the Ministry of Infrastructure. You know why, Coretta?
But you know,
Because we
Annette, let
wanted.
me pause there for a minute. Let me pause. Let me put you on pause for a minute. You know, in the coalition, we our work and our actions and our everything was premised on honesty,
Yeah,
decency, and integrity.
integrity.
And I want to say to our viewers that every year, monies that were budgeted for were returned to the treasury from many ministries,
Yes,
many
yes.
ministries. But we have seen in September of 2020 a budget passed for billions. And in that 3 months, we heard of no monies being returned to the treasury.
Exactly.
As a matter of fact, we saw them coming for more monies in 3 months. You know, no monies were left over, none whatsoever. They came for more monies. Now you work it out for yourself. You put the two or the one and one together, and you work it out for yourself. I don't want to call them the names. You give them the names. You know, and these are things that advancing the cause will continue to highlight on our programs. We will continue to highlight on Across the Waves. We will continue to highlight on Nima's program. We will continue to highlight on Rush Hour and the midday rush. We are going to continue to highlight these issues, because these are the people who are the deceitful ones. These are the crooks.
Yes.
These are the crooks that we're dealing with.
Exactly. So there's no saint.
We have blamed President Granger for being too much of a decent man. And because of his decency, we are here, as our supporters are saying, because of his decency, we are here suffering. But I want to say to us, when you have raw gold, there is nothing you could do with raw gold. It got to go through that process. It got to pass through the fire. And then you see the real thing. And so we are going through this period because at the end of it, we are going to be the true Guyanese.
Yes.
We will be the real people. We are going to be the people who will stand up for your rights, stand up for more improved services. We are the people who will deliver Guyana out of the misery that we now find ourselves in. My viewers, I want to say to you, just before you come in, Annette, I want to say to you, we have gone through many, many years from colonial days through independence that we must give credit to LFS Burnham and Shedi Jagan and those who were around them. They fought for independence. And even while those two men were from different parties, of course, they started together and then they had the differences and they split. But we have seen those two men, when it came to issues of nationhood, they stood together, forgetting who this and who that and who the other. And they stood together as one and they fought for this country. Unlike this cabal group that we got here, all they're interested in is passing casino license and having a party here and having a party there and putting citizens' lives at risk. I want to say to us that on advancing the cause, we will continue to highlight these issues. And let me say to you, our viewers, don't be misled with the few balls that they're bringing to give to you as gifts and the promises that they're making to you with them cheap Chinese lights that they're buying and attaching all kinds of values to it, lights that can't even shine further than the post that the light is hooked up on. There is no more glare that you can get from that light. So if somebody attacking you and you standing under that light, you can't see them from a distance. You can't see them anywhere, maybe 5 running lengths, footsteps from you. You can't see them because the light can't shine so far. I want to say to you that we will continue to highlight these issues. And we want you to give to us the kinds of information. When they come to your communities, you take the balls. When they come to tell you that they come to develop your communities, accept the development in your communities, because what they are doing, they are obligated to do. It's not a favor they're granting you. The government of the day is obligated to provide service for the people of the country. So they're doing you no favor. The COVID money, let them know that those monies were budgeted for. They're taxpayers' monies that were budgeted for, and they are monies that were sent as grants to this country to ease the COVID issues that we're having. So let them don't feel that they're doing you a favor. But Annette, you wanted to say something.
Yes, Coretta, this is what I want to say. I notice in the comment row here, one Annette Singh, and this is what Annette Singh has to say. If they had so much money, like you said, why you didn't give to the Guyanese people? You guys are full of SHIT. Talk about how much money was stolen. Now I want to respond to Annette Singh. Any right-thinking Guyanese would see the amount of work put in by this administration. Look at the infrastructure. Projects started, right? And were able to be completed successfully. Not halfway done. You understand me? Look in the education sector, look in the health sector, everything. So the monies weren't stolen. The monies were put to the use that it was approved for. So we have to be very careful. We have seen,
Annette.
And if Annette Singh wants to challenge me, I can challenge her. We remember Coretta.
Annette, I think you went too far. What you should be responding by saying is, let's compare 5 with 23. No. Let's compare 5 to 23.
Yes,
that's what you should be saying.
Exactly.
5 to 23. And we will see how much monies were spent in 5 years, how many projects were executed in 5 years, how many new initiatives came in 5 years. And in that 5 years, We saw many of our Amerindian villages being able to get water for the first time through running taps.
Exactly.
Many Amerindian villages being able to get access to internet because of the internet, the hubs that were set up there. Many Amerindian students were given scholarship to attend the school outside of their region because of good performance. Let us say to whoever Hyacinth is or whatever her name is, check the initiative of the 5Bs. And the 5Bs, let me say to Annette Singh or whatever her name is, the 5Bs was not taxpayers' monies, viewers. The 5Bs was a project that came to being out from His Excellency David Granger, whose birthday, on his birthday or just before his birthday, he said to his friends who wanted to offer him all kinds of fancy gold chains and bands and he said, no, I don't want that. I need bicycles, I need computers, I need buses, I need boats, I need bags, I need to have in our schools a breakfast program. That is what I want. So the monies that you are going to spend on me personally, I want you to spend that on these items so that the children of Guyana can benefit and that it can bring about some ease to the parents who would have had to fund, 1, buying book bags, 2, transportation costs, and 3, finding meals for their children, whether it's early in the morning or at lunchtime. So what she is saying there, I guess her vision is clouded, but all I want her to do is to divide 23 into 5 can't go. And that's what she must understand. What she should understand too is that people like Priya Manikchand and them bought they built big houses in Pradoville 1 and Pradoville 2, and they got the land at a minimal cost. That's what they give themselves. That's why Efren Ali got the mansion that he has there in Lenora. Ask him how much he spent for it. Those are the things that she should be making note of, and those are the things that she should be commenting on. She should be commenting on things like Priya Manikchand selling the plot, the house that she had for how much money is when she bought the land for a meager sum. Those are the things they should comment on. Ask them to check to see how many ministers of the coalition got those big fancy land and those big fancy mansions that they got, that they were able to acquire in the 23 years. Let them check prior those 23 years, those ministers within the PNC, how many of them had mansions, how many of them had vehicles of their own. Let's compare that and we will see who are the true leaders of this country, who are the people that have the interest of this country and its citizens at heart. So I'm happy that our program is touching some of them that they're watching because they're going to be enlightened. And for my girl Priya, again, I'm going to say a special good night to you because I want you to understand one thing, Priya, that you have no authority. You're my friend. Well, I think so. But you have no authority to decide who listen to me and who don't listen to me because you yourself listening to me. And you, the things that I'm saying, they're touching your nerves because they're right. Priya Manikchand should say to this nation that she made the nursery schools in Guyana a daycare center. Because you know what she did? She lowered the age for the admission to nursery school to facilitate her daughter. These are the selfish people that we got to deal with. But they don't talk these stories. And so the age from nursery, when it was supposed to be 3-9, 3-6 to 3-9, she brought it down to 3-3, 3-2. So teachers now have to be changing Pampers and all these things in nursery school because of Priya Manikchand. Let Priya Manikchand say to this nation that she was the person who came about with this no child left behind, just like how she's left behind. Priya Manik Chan, tonight is a good night. I ain't gonna deal with you so much tonight. But I just want to remind you that Coretta McDonald is the General Secretary of the Guyana Teachers Union. And as General Secretary of the Guyana Teachers Union, you see, because she's not a PPP, she's a civic, so she don't understand principles. She don't understand that we in organizations, we have constitution that guides the management of organizations. And in the GTU's constitution, it says that the General Secretary is the communications officer of the union, which simply means, Priya, that correspondence, they got to come to the General Secretary. The General Secretary speaks on behalf of the union. And from time to time, the president can also speak on behalf of the union. So you have no authority to say who must listen to me and who must not listen to me. You indecent. You ain't got no decency about you. You love to lift up your petticoat. So don't bother with Coretta McDonald. And you know what I find ironic, and I must let my viewers know this. Priya is so one-sided. And she got some of her cronies who she has made one-sided just like her. Imagine, like I said earlier, Coretta McDonald was a credible woman. She was decent before her name appeared on the APNU AFC list of candidates. When it appeared there, she no longer decent and she ain't got no credibility. But Coretta McDonald, as General Secretary of the Guyana Teachers Union, I got a comrade whose name is Sipal Narain, who is also the General Secretary of GAU. He is the General Secretary of GAU, and he is sitting in Parliament as an MP for the government. And these blind people, they don't have a problem with that. But they have a problem with Coretta McDonald being General Secretary of the GTU and sitting in Parliament, sitting in the opposition side. That's what they have the problem with. But let me say to you, our viewers, with me sitting in the opposition, it gives every single Guyanese out there a chance to be represented. I represent you sitting there as an opposition member because I will highlight all the deficiencies that we are seeing in the system. But if I were to sit on the government side, I would have agreed with you by saying that we have it's conflict of interest. I would have agreed with you because Sipal Narain can't oppose anything. Any wrong that is being done to workers, Sipal Narain can't oppose it because they throw you out of Parliament. They throw you out of that seat. He can't oppose it. So all who Priya trying to tell that it's my sitting in Parliament and being General Secretary is conflict of interest, tell Priya, just rewind your memory. Just go read things that are of importance. I can send her tomorrow a copy of the Constitution of Guyana. The Guyana Teachers Union. Maybe I can hand it to her in Parliament tomorrow so she can read it and understand. So people like wherever Singh or Hyacinth or Low Saint, wherever she name, she can talk stupid, she can talk, you know, stupidness. But these are the people that they have who are gullible and they grab for every little thing, they grab onto sense or no sense, they grab onto it. But I'm happy that we are on these forums so that we can share with you, our viewers. We can continue to advance the cause. We can continue to bring the information from across the waves. We can continue in the people's, as a people's representative, to share with you all of these issues. Annette, I'll give you another 3 minutes for you to wrap up, and then I'll make a plea for some other workers before we close the program.
Thank you very much, Coretta. I think the program, you know, is a very informative program based on what I've been seeing, you know, in the comments box here. A lot of people are tuned in, listening to what we have to say, because this is where the truth will be told, you know, platforms like these. This is where the facts will be revealed. You understand me? We're not here to speak or preach propaganda or propagandized issues here in our country. So I want to say to all of our viewers out there, the coalition remains steadfast. The coalition is working on your behalf to ensure that justice is served. But the only way we can really and truly execute our mandate is that we have to ensure that we get your support. You know, Coretta, a number of persons are fearful of, sharing information with us because of how the system of governance has changed in this country. You know, after May 2015, people found their voices. You know, you had freedom of
They
speech
breathed
in
a
this
sigh of relief.
country. Exactly. People got on Facebook, on social media, and they called the president then, David Granger, all sorts of names, and we did not treat them badly. You know, people could have, come out, protest, in call out ministers in public places. We didn't send our goons after them because we believe in what the Constitution speaks to: freedom of speech.
Freedom of
People
speech.
must be
Freedom of association.
This is your constitutional right. But programs like these, the PPP wouldn't want you to listen to because they want to ensure that the truth is not being told. I got comrades who would say to me, Coretta, they're running our Facebook account to see what program we looking at, what we liking, and all manner of things. This ought not to be.
Who you're friends you're friends with.
It ought not to be. We are Guyanese. Yes, we will have our political differences, but we are Guyanese and we must be able to come together to move this country forward. So I want to encourage our viewers and our listeners, do not be fearful. Reach out to your MPs. We all have Facebook accounts, our MP pages. You just reach out to us. Send us the information and we will represent, we will expose, and we will dispose all of the nonsense this illegitimate cabal is doing to us. So that's what I would want to say for the time being, Coretta. And also, before I take my final leave, my leave finally, I want to encourage our people. To remain safe from COVID.
So, Annette, I just want to remind our people, and I just want to say to you that there is no force that will stop Coretta McDonald. No force that will stop me. I want to remind you that I am a principled person. If it is wrong, I will say it is wrong, regardless of who's doing it. And I don't have to lie to make myself look good. If you look at me, let me set myself properly. If you look at me, you notice I good looking. So I don't have to lie to look good or to sound good. I say the things as they are. If we doing wrong things in the Ministry of Education and we printing wrong spelling and we got all kind of knockabout printing going on, I will say it out loud. I'm not going to hide away from it. If you're putting our teachers under extreme pressures, I will say it. If our teachers cannot operate under the systems that you have, it is my right to say it and to let you know that with Coretta McDonald being General Secretary and MP, there is no way that my union is compromised. Because you have never heard the GTU saying that the GTU agrees with what the opposition leader is saying or what the MPs are saying. No, the GTU takes a professional approach to dealing with education.
Yes.
And just the same way we have all those who support the PPPC, we have persons, and it is their right to support the coalition. It is their right. So you must not get PPPC supporters. Y'all don't get upset with people when you see they're supporting the coalition or when they're supporting members of the opposition. It is their right. Finally, I want to say to the Minister of Amerindian Affairs who deals with Amerindian affairs or Indigenous Peoples Affairs, I want to say to you, you see that haste program that y'all stop and you're refusing to pay those persons who wrote those modules, those 8 modules. I don't have a difficulty with you scrapping the department, because that's all you need to, to do is to scrap things. Whether how important they are, because you did not create it, you're scrapping it. Please pay the people who sat there and put those modules together. Please pay them. Even if it means you have to tear off the front page that says the AIDS program, that David Granger was the person that was David Granger's brainchild. You want to scrap it? Scrap it. But because the work would have already been completed, please pay the people. Charles Ramsden, the little boy who got a problem with phonics, let me say to you, comrade, well, you're not my comrade, but let me say to you, young man, you see those 120 certificates that you're refusing to sign for those youngsters in Sophia who completed those programs? Please sign the people's certificates. I know that that project was not run under your stewardship because you don't have the capacity to run those programs or to bring about those kinds of thinking to empower our young people in Sophia. It was done under the government of Guyana, and whichever government is taking over, whether through the back door or through the front door or legally or illegally, since you're sitting there and occupying this space, sign the people's certificate and let the children get access to further education or to employment. Just sign it for the people. Y'all too little and petty. And pettiness don't run country. Pettiness don't govern. So come on, Charles Ramsden, be a grown-up adult. Be a grown-up adult. Just the other day, you celebrated another milestone, which added another year to you. Grow up and do the things that you ought to do as the Minister of Culture, Youth and Sports, if that's the title that you're carrying, because I ain't sure was your title. But tomorrow we are going to be in the National Assembly. I wanted to tap in on a few more things, but our time has run out on us. Yes. And let me just add this little one. We have the councillor from the Joiner Party in Region 8. That the deputy speaker, you watch these people by their association, they get just like the people who they associate with. So he came under the pretext of forming new parties, all them little parties. But we knew from the inception that all these little parties were elements, elements and subsets of the PPPC regime or the PPPC party. So when the deputy speaker of the House would lie to this nation to say that when the guy was supposed to be sworn in, to say that the guy is unwell, the guy is not well, and by the afternoon we saw this same man fetching on his head what's the name you call that special bag that the Amerindians carry, where you put a strap around your head and you have the full content on your back there. I can't remember the name. So many things you do sometimes you don't remember, and I want to pretend to call no wrong name to make myself look like but that young man, we saw him on Facebook strong and healthy as ever, and the man saying, I will support the coalition with anything that happens in this region because the coalition won this region. But he wants the guy to support whatever decision the PPP are going to make. Whatever stand they're going to take, he will support them. Now I've seen him going about now, removing the man and replacing him with somebody else. Is that democracy? These were the people who were standing up and said that they're guardians of democracy, and this is what they're doing. Yeah. My viewers out there, I want you to be comforted by this fact that on advancing the cause, we will continue to highlight these issues. We will continue to embarrass these people who talk about knowing how to put everything right when they're doing everything wrong. Let us continue to stick to each other. Remember, COVID is real. Wear your mask properly. Use your hand sanitizers, wash your hands as often as possible. And let's remember, Guyana belongs to each and every single one of us. And together we must work towards protecting this dear land of ours. With that, I want to say thank you for having us in your homes. Thank you for being with us. Thank you for sharing your comments. And we'll see you here again next week at this same time. With that being said, God bless you. Good night.
God bless you too. Good night. Bye-bye.
Holla the blow, blow, blow. Holla the blow, blow, blow. Holla the blow, blow, blow. Holla the blow, blow. Blow the man. Holla the blow, blow, blow. Holla the blow, blow, blow. Holla the blow, blow, blow. Holla the blow, blow. We go have a grand time all night tonight. All night tonight. All night tonight. We go have a grand time all night.